Last night, I followed my husband. I watched him meet another woman in a dark parking lot. I watched her hand him a thick envelope. And then I watched him cry. At that moment, I was certain I had discovered the truth about my marriage. I was wrong. Because the envelope wasn't proof of betrayal. It was proof that my husband had been living a second life, one he never wanted me to see. I should have driven home. That would have been the normal thing to do, the reasonable thing. Instead, I stayed parked across the street, my hands frozen on the steering wheel while rain slid slowly down the windshield. Daniel wiped his face inside the car. The woman spoke calmly, almost gently. There was no laughter. No touching, no intimacy, just seriousness. That confused me more than anything. If she wasn't his lover, then who was she? A few minutes later, she stepped out of the car and walked away without looking back. Daniel didn't move. He sat there staring at the envelope, as if it weighed 1,000 pounds. Then he placed it on the passenger seat and started the engine. My heart jumped. He was leaving. I waited a few seconds before starting my car. Not too close, not too far. Every turn he made felt unreal. Like I was watching someone else's life instead of my own. He didn't drive toward home. He drove downtown, past restaurants filled with late-night conversations, past glowing bars and empty sidewalks. Then he turned toward the medical district and entered a parking garage beside a hospital building. The lights inside were harsh and white, almost cold. Daniel stepped out slowly, still holding the envelope. He looked exhausted, older somehow. I had never seen him walk like that before, not once in 10 years. Instead of going inside, he sat back down in the car. For a long time, he didn't move. Then he opened the envelope again. Several papers slid into his lap, even from a distance. I could see bold letters printed across the top page. Medical report. My breath caught. He flipped through page after page, his hands trembling slightly. Then he stopped. One page held his attention longer than the others. He covered his mouth and began crying again. Not quietly this time. This wasn't guilt. It wasn't shame. It looked like grief. And suddenly, fear replaced jealousy inside my chest. A nurse walked past his car on her way out of the building. Daniel quickly gathered the papers, stuffing them back into the envelope. For a brief second, the top page turned toward my direction. Just long enough for me to read a name. Not Daniel S., not mine. A child S. name. Lucas M. I froze. We didn't have children. Daniel had never mentioned anyone named Lucas. My thoughts spiraled. Was this his son? Had he hidden another life from me all these years? Daniel picked up his phone. For a moment, I thought he might call me. Instead, he dialed someone else. I couldn't hear the conversation, but I watched his expression carefully. Fear mixed with urgency. He nodded again and again, as if trying to convince someone or himself. Then he said something that made my stomach tighten. I'll figure it out. I promise. A promise heavy enough to break a person. He ended the call and sat there in silence, completely alone. And in that moment, I understood something terrifying. My husband wasn't hiding an affair. He was hiding a crisis. Daniel turned the car toward the hospital entrance. Before stepping out, he paused and whispered something to himself. I couldn't hear the words, but I could read his lips. I am running out of time. And for the first time that night, I wasn't afraid he was betraying me. I was afraid he was losing someone. Or something. And I had no idea how deeply I was already involved.